Okay, so here we are. We're in the super late model at Eldora. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about problems with driving them, and so here we are to look at what you can do. I'm not an expert by any means, but if I can help people out, not so much to beat me, but to have a clean race, then here are some tips for you. So, first of all, I have my wheel set up to 270 degrees, and it hits the stops there. I'm running a Driving Force GT Logitech. Um, Also, before we get into this, I have the sound coming through the monitor, which is not good. It's the best I can do. I don't know how to have it come through the actual program, so this is the best I can do. So the sound will not be very good other than my voice, which is coming through the mic. So I have 270 degrees, actually 285 degrees on here on my wheel, and it hits the stops there. I know some people say not to do that. Some people say that they run 900, but the last thing I want is to waste time turning past what my car can actually turn, and so that's why I have mine set up to 285. Wheel range right here, I have this at 282 just because I couldn't get it to go to exactly 285, which is fine. I think the other important thing here is you want your mapped range to be exactly the same so that it's turning at a 1-to-1 ratio. Some people like the force feedback. I don't like a lot of that because it kind of pulls it out of my hands, and I want to be able to make my corrections as soon as I want to without any resistance. So I have that very low, but I can still feel it. Like if I hit the wall, it responds. So I'd say that these two things here, making sure that this is set up correctly based on what you have your profile set to, your wheel profile, is important. Okay? All right, now let's look at the track and once we get out here. By the way, once you get to this phase right here, you want to make sure that you've got your field of view at something that is close to your setup. So, for example, this is actually a little bit larger field of view than I should have. I have it at 65 right now. In all honesty, it should be, my eyes are probably 20 inches from the screen, so I should have it probably something like in here. But then I have not as much viewing distance or viewing opportunity here. So I take it back to 65, and I can still run it that way. Now I'll tell you firsthand, if you go and you're somebody that wants to go and make a huge difference and have it out like this so you can see your car, you're going to struggle greatly to be able to make the corners and to drive accurately and precisely, because it screws with how quickly the actual corner is coming up. So take this field of view and get it at least close to where it should be. Okay, give or take 5 or 10 field of view degrees. So I got mine at 65, and that works for me. Let's pair that with this too. Actually, if I escape out of here, say you're somebody that you're like, I don't really like the view that it gives me, but you still want to have the correct field of view. Hit Control F12, and that'll adjust your cameras. And then what you want to do is you want to go into your cockpit, and from here, based on what view you want, see, you can see that I've already changed a few of these numbers. And what I've done, as you can see, I'm changing it here. That was the original view based on that 65 degrees of field of vision, but I'd rather have that thing backed up. And this is like moving your seat in a car. This is not actually going to change the field of view. It's just going to take your seat and basically move it back. And so I'll show you the difference. Here's the original view. I can barely see my right side fender over here, and so, or my nose, whatever you want to call that. So if I take this back to 0.8, I can see more of it. And you can adjust that as much as you want. The only thing is, the farther you go back, the more of this you'll see, and the more of the roof that you'll see, and the less you'll see out here. So I had a happy medium. I went with that, and then what I did was this here changes up and down. So I had that somewhere in there. I don't know. I've got it saved right here. So if I did make a mistake, it can go back. I'll just load it. But that takes you up or down based on what you want to see. This one is left and right. I wouldn't mess with that. That's going to distort your pitch and the attitude of the car. See, this one, I guess, does the same thing. This is basically just moving your head up or down to look up or down. So say you go way down with this for whatever reason, maybe you're trying to get rid of this up here. You can take this and look more up. Okay? The only thing you're going to notice is I get less of a view of my actual hood as I decrease or go down in the Z direction. So that's why I have mine around a 0.2. And as you can see, as I change this, it really doesn't adjust the view on my hood. And then this just kind of does roll angle. So keep that at 0. So if you do want to adjust your cockpit view, this is not your field of view, this is just basically your seat. Think of this as adjusting your seat. You do that with Control F12, and that'll bring up those camera options. Okay, so there we go, there's that. Alright, let's get out on the track. I'm at 65 field of view. So one of the most common things I hear is well, what's fast and what's slow, and what does the brown mean, and what are the different textures. So you can probably barely hear the car. What I'm sitting on right here is at least right now we're at a 50% track state. Right here in the center is the most used up. You can see it's just a little bit glossy. You can see it coming right now, a little bit glossy. And as the race goes on, or as you use that portion of the track up, it's going to become more slick. The glossy stuff is slick. That is where you don't want to spend your time. Okay, so you can see it right through here, through the middle. It's going to be fast. It's going to be more grippy down here, or possibly even down there if you can hold it, or up above that. So, let's go ahead and get started. The biggest thing here is keeping these on the bars. Basically what that means is you are trying to keep the car jacked up, and it will keep the car able to turn, because as it drops, you've probably all seen it, you get a little bit of that wobbling back and forth feel. And basically what happens is the front is, or the shocks or and the springs or whatever is unloaded, and it's putting that weight back onto the front, and when your tires compress, it gives you that wobble back and forth you have to try to sit there and deal with. So the more you can keep on the gas, the better it's going to be. At a track like Eldora that's not completely used up at 100% state with blacked out track, you're going to be on the gas 98% of the time, full bore. And you're going to just do minor adjustments with your right foot on the gas and your hands. And a lot of times you're going to actually power through this section right here, and use this section that is slick to your advantage. So if you're having trouble getting it to rotate in, then use that to get you turned. Because what you'll notice, and what some of you are probably struggling with, is when I get off the gas, instead of turning like I want it to, like it does there, it pushes up the track, and then you're sitting there trying to hit your brakes or slamming the wall or whatever. So let me show you a corner here, and you can see my gas brake on the left. Okay, so right there it wasn't loaded up. You can see it pushed on. So here we go. I'm full bore, and I'm just going to power through this. Slight adjustment with the gas, as you can see. Power through it. Stay on the gas until it sets. Adjust the foot as you need to. And I'm turning slightly left here to keep it on the bars. Okay, and I'm just above that slippery spot. Okay, you can still see it right there on the straights, wobbling just a bit. Above all that stuff. I'm powering through, not letting off. I see way too many people think that they're going to set into the corner, letting off, and then look, I'm off the gas and it doesn't want to set. To get it to go back around, I've got to get on the gas, get it back up on the bars to be able to rotate. I'm off the gas, you can see I'm trying to turn, it won't. The biggest thing is staying on the gas during that time when you're like, well, I can't get it to turn. On the gas, turn left, get it, keep it on the bars, get it to rotate that way. Okay. Now let me show you what I mean by using the slick part as you're turning. So if you're having trouble getting the turn, get down here, and you can see how quick it wants to snap it around. So if you're struggling, enter so that you're going through that, and it'll kick you around a little bit better. Okay? Okay, so you can see the lap times really don't suffer. You saw right there too, just a little bit. When I got off the gas and got off the bars, it wanted to push a little up the track. So I think there are some tips for trying to understand what these different parts of the track are, and then how to get into power through some of those conditions that some people are having that are a problem. Okay, so there's just a few tips. I'll come back with something else with other things as they come up, and hopefully this helps some of you guys.